I want to be in a relationship? What am I getting out of this? What am I putting into it? How is this overall benefiting my life?
Your life is your book, and this is my favorite chapter. Ladies and gentlemen, all things relationships abroad. So I just want to ask about when you mentioned that you attract the same type of people who are not going to be honest or here for the right reason or something like that. Do you feel like that is exactly how it's happening, or maybe you have trust issues because as a child I didn't have my dad here with me to be here? I mean, obviously it raised me and things like that. Do you feel like that is maybe you being scared that you are coming in my life, but you already have questions, when are you going to leave? Are you here to stay, or kind of things?
I think it's like a control thing. So it's like, I'm going to make the decision for you. Like, you're there. Not, like, no, you're not coming closer.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. Let me make that, like, you're not going to get close enough to hurt me again. I've been through that. I don't want to deal with that again. So it's that putting that on the shelf, I'll deal with this later kind of thing. If you don't deal with it later, you find yourself in this pattern of like just being like, nah, no relationship, no thank you.
In terms of your experiences, how do you actually bring yourself back, or how, maybe let's say you are in this relationship and you feel like this is going left, and obviously because you are thinking that, okay, I know what you want. You are not here to stay. You're already giving a situation, like you said, you're already naming it. This is what it is, and this is how it's gonna go. So how do you bring yourself back?
So already I don't end up in relationships because I see a million red flags. It's like you looked the wrong way. That's a red flag, you know. So that's my personal experience. However, to kind of get your gears, be in your right mind, right? It's all about showing up for yourself. How do you love yourself? How are you filling your own cup? Because you have to rebuild. What does love feel like? I do feel like at some point in my life I had to re-experience what is love supposed to feel like. And I don't just mean romantic love. I just mean love. So any kind of love. Like, what does it feel like? What does it mean? Because you hear it like in all these different ways. And so I've kind of came to my own idea of what I think love is. It's the path of health. It's I'm healthy, I'm longevity, like I'm going for that. So if it's what is serving me positively, what is going to give me energy, not drain me. So now I'll try to ask myself, how is this serving me? And it can get really confusing with love, with relationships, because you feel like, oh, this person is the thing. You have all these like chemicals going on in your brain to tell you like, this is love, and it's not. It could be actually something abusive like that. So especially another thing about trauma, once you've experienced it in your adult life, you're very likely to play it out and play it out again and again and again. And so in our experience, what it feels like is lightning bolts when you find someone who was abusive in the same way as someone in the past. Because actually what your body's confusing is adrenaline. So when you're in a traumatic situation, adrenaline spikes. And so you confuse that for excitement. Your body's confusing that. Like, I'm actually just really giddy and I have like butterflies in my stomach. This must be love. And actually oftentimes, if you've been in abusive situations, then it's actually just abuse showing up, and your body's going into fight or flight, like trying to figure out how to deal with it, or fight, flight, or freeze, you know. So the best way, I think, to get around and to get your bearings is to redefine love. Look for relationships in your life across all types of relationships. Who is showing up for me in the right ways? Who is being supportive? Who is supporting me in my goal of health? Who is in line with that? Not who is trying to take something from me. Who's trying to suck me of my energy. So I try to distinguish that and just take note of what does that feel like. And I got into like a yoga practice, and for me that's huge because they you just kind of get feelings like it feels like I got a better bearing of what does love feel like. It's not always pleasant. You know, it does feel like work sometimes, even for yourself.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe I don't want to do this. Maybe I don't want to clean up my apartment. You know, I'd rather just sit on the couch and eat chocolate. But, you know, that feels good momentarily.
Yeah.
But when you do that for yourself, actually you'll feel better. You know, when you do the things you don't want to do. So love isn't always just like, I don't know, sunshine and butterflies. It's
you push yourself.
Yeah, you push yourself. You put in work for yourself. And came across an Instagram post recently that I really, really like. It broke down. Do you know the love languages? Should I break that down?
Please
break it down. Okay. So everybody experiences and gives love differently, and it's really helpful to know how do you feel loved. And so there's 5 main types.
Okay.
There's that have been identified. It could be anything that makes you feel loved, but these are the 5 main. There's acts of service. So when people kind of do things for you, if they like take out the trash for you, or just doing something to help your life be more convenient. That's one. Another one is gift giving. So some people feel really loved when they receive gifts, and that just makes them feel really like the person understands them. If it's a really good gift, like you know me, you knew I would like this thing. Like you put a lot of thought into this. Then there's time. Are you willing to spend time with me? Quality time. Yeah. That shows you're showing up. That makes me feel really cared about. That makes me feel loved. Then there's physical touch, which is not just sex. It sounds like it would just be sex, but it's not. It's putting my hand on your leg while we're at dinner. It's putting my hand on your back while we're somewhere. It's just holding your hand, making sure you know I'm here. Yeah. So that's one. And the last one is words of affirmation. Some people need to be told, I love you, you're beautiful, and that'll make them feel loved.
I feel like I'm all of those.
Probably.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so those all. But so it's important to know like what are your main ones, because if you're in a relationship with somebody, you might be doing what your love language is to them, and if that's not their love language, then they're not getting it. They're not getting it, and then you get upset like, I'm giving you love and you're not accepting it.
But it's not the right way.
Yeah, they just don't notice it. It's just like, that's just not how I receive love. I didn't know it meant anything. Yeah. It's like, I told you 20 times that I love you, and you're like, oh, but you didn't, you didn't hold my hand at dinner.
Exactly.
So I didn't think you loved me. So it's important to know that. It's really good.
Okay. And so in that way, would you recommend people to read their partners, like their reactions, or maybe to just sit down and talk about it? How would you?
I would want to talk about it because I think most people aren't even aware of their own love language. So if they're aware of it, that helps you out, and if they're aware that it exists. Because if you're just doing it by yourself, maybe you could kind of read the other person and figure it out. Yeah. But then they're not doing it back to you. Yeah. So if you want that love back, you gotta like, hey, this is a thing. Yeah. What's yours? Here's what I think mine is. Yeah. And communicate that.
And we go back to today's topic, your relationship with yourself, basically.
Right.
So at this point, when you ask me about my love language and I don't know about myself, I don't have a relationship with myself, so I wouldn't be able to help you out right now as my partner that, okay, I like our hands, I like you to hold my hand, I like you to give me gifts or anything like that. So that is how self-relationship is important.
Yeah, exactly. I came across this Instagram post though that had the 5 main ones, and it said self-love for your love language. And it's been everything, because mine are physical touch and acts of service. So I go right to those, and those are the things that I already do to make myself feel loved. And then I got new ideas, and I've been doing it, and it's been making me feel really happy. Which, like cleaning my apartment is one. I can be pretty messy. So just tidying up. Yeah. I'm so shocked at how much better I feel
after.
Yeah, I feel more confident. True. I feel like I could breathe in my space. It just makes me feel like I'm taking care of myself. And so the more you take care of yourself, the more you're just getting to the starting line. I think if you could love yourself.
Yeah.
That you should find somebody else who's also getting to that starting point, so that from there, when you have a relationship, you're just there to support each other.
Yeah.
You keep doing it, you keep taking care of yourself, and I'll just be a supportive voice.
Yeah. Okay, so from this whole conversation, what I'm getting is that relationship with yourself is as important as the one that I have with a friend or a family member or a lover or a partner, anything like that. So if you could explain to us or try to just walk us through, like, how are you managing your self-love, and like what do you do in order for you to see that, okay, this is me loving myself, I'm in a relationship with myself, and I'm not expecting someone else to do this for me, but I do this for myself, or anything like that.
Yeah. So I'll even one up that and say your relationship with yourself is the most important, because you're with yourself your whole life. You can't escape yourself. So this is the only relationship in your life that will last your entire lifespan.
I think we can close the session. That was it. that is everything, actually. Yeah. That is everything.
So I like to think about it. If you can learn to be by yourself, then that's a superpower. Because then suddenly when you find yourself in a relationship, you don't have to tolerate nonsense. You're like, I think I'm good by myself. I don't need to be with you.
Yeah.
If you're acting up, especially if they're trying to step over, if they're not willing to do the things that you're communicating. I feel loved when you do this, and they're not willing to do those things for you, then that should tell you everything, and you should move on.
Yeah.
So it gives you that strength, I think. So that's that.
Okay.
In terms of specifics, like what I do,
my
love language is physical touch. So that's a big one for me. So after I shower, for example, I love to do the skincare routines. I love to put on all my lotions and my oils, and just make sure that my skin is there. And as you could do that, you could even give yourself a little massage. A little foot massage. Another thing for physical touch, if you like, I like to move my body.
Yes.
So it's about being grounded in your body. So you do things like yoga. I dance. I do yoga. I like to do capoeira. So I do physical things. To show up for myself, to show myself that I love myself. For acts of service, the biggest one lately that's been tidying my living space. I'm really shocked at how much better I feel. So doing that. Also, when I do the tasks that I avoid, I don't want to do this or that, then just getting them done. For the tidying the living space, what I've been doing is just setting a timer for 20 minutes.
Wow.
Seeing how much I can do, and then I do whatever I want. And maybe I'll come back to it in the same day, do another 20 minutes.
Nice.
And that's just been massive. You could really get a lot done in that time.
Yeah.
And just organizing. I've done all kinds of things I've been meaning to do, and that just taking care of the things that you don't want to do is making me feel a lot better. Yeah.
That is really nice. And for a gift, I mean, for a person who likes to get gifts, maybe I like gifts. So maybe that would be like, if you like flowers, you can get yourself flowers.
Buy yourself flowers. Yeah.
If you want someone to take you out, you can take yourself out on a date. That is also important.
Yeah.
Right? That will make you feel better.
Yeah. That's I think. Yeah, that's definitely a good point.
So it's basically doing the things that you're expecting the other person to do for you. Exactly. So that is how you do this relationship with yourself.
Yes.
That's easy. If you're expecting someone else to do it for you, why wouldn't you do it for yourself?
Exactly. Remember, you're responsible for your happiness. You're alone. So even when you find yourself in a relationship, you could communicate, but that person never has to do it. Although they're not a very good partner if they don't ever want to make you feel loved. But people enter relationships for a reason.
Yes, definitely.
So who doesn't want to make their partner feel special and happy and supported? So yeah, at least you're able to communicate those things. It's everything.
Actually, that takes us to a point where, I mean, it would take you to a point where you realize that this person is really not good for me, and you would save yourself from being in a relationship that you are not supposed to be in, or like, because this is what I love. I know myself. I know I like gifts. I know I'll make an example. Okay, everyone. So maybe like, I know I love gifts. I want to be taken out, and physical touch. I want you to hold my hand. I want you to touch me, or anything like that. So if your partner is not giving you that, then you can be able to communicate with them, because you have a relationship with yourself. You understand yourself, so you know exactly what to say to your partner. So that would save a relationship, basically.
It really does, because I think probably most of the fights come in from just, you're not accepting my love, you don't appreciate me, you know. So I think people are really wanting to support their partners and show love.
Yes.
It's just like getting kind of, the message is getting jumbled. You know, and it becomes, you're selfish. You don't love me enough, or someone ends up feeling that way.
And it's just an understanding that's not going on.
And I think when things get really, because your thoughts could get really twisted and lost, especially if you're not super aware of your attachment, of how you were brought up. Then suddenly maybe your thoughts change. Like, he won't buy me gifts. I told him to buy me gifts. Maybe I don't like gifts. You know, you can start doing things like that.
I see what you mean.
Which isn't good. You start to mold yourself into somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah. Not a great thing. But that's why awareness and self-love is important. You have to have strong boundaries. You have to have a very solid understanding of what you like and what you don't like. And try not to communicate. If you communicate something, like, I want this, and they're like, no, you don't want that, then that's a really big red flag. That's really bad sign.
Definitely is. Yeah, definitely. And if you do communicate with someone about it and they don't change, maybe, or they don't do what you've asked, that is still a red flag, right? How long do I have to wait? I've already communicated with you, this is what I like, and this is how I like it. But if you're not giving me that, then maybe you don't want to be here.
I think also, like, as much as self-love, you could do it while you're single. I think it's also extremely important to do it in a relationship, because if self-love doesn't end there, you can't expect someone to be meeting your needs all the time. You know, you want to be at your fullest, your most energetic all the time. And nobody wants to be with someone who's like, give me, you know.
Of course.
To avoid that also, you need to always be on this path of self-love. I think also it helps you recognize what's important to you. So maybe someone does say, like, actually, I'm not going to do that for you. It doesn't make you feel loved. It's like, I'm going to keep doing it for myself, and I'll keep, so I don't forget. I don't end up like, well, maybe not. You know, maybe you're right. To keep reaffirming within yourself what you like and what you need, you have to always have that self-love relationship going.
Okay, so this actually, for me, how I'm looking at it, it goes deeper, you know, like it also goes to our sexual life, you know, like how one prefers their sexual life, or how they would like it, and anything like that. So looking at what we have spoken about, the love languages and stuff, I mean, if you're in a relationship, obviously you would want your partner to give you what you want. I mean, the way that you want it, right? So in that way, would you say maybe someone could learn how their partners receive what they're giving, or you would recommend communication there also?
Of course, you got to communicate. You got to tell them exactly what you want. I think especially as women, we're not like the easiest people to please. We can't just come like guys that just want to be pumped up. It's so easy, but for girls, every girl is different, you know. So even if they've been able to make a girl come very easily in the past, when they meet you,
someone else,
it's like, cool, we're starting new.
Definitely.
Like, it's not that easy. So I kind of have to tell you what to do, really. I mean, I don't have to, but it's gonna get us there a lot faster. It's gonna save you a lot of stress, and it's gonna save me a lot of dissatisfaction, I guess.
Of course.
So I think we both want each other to. I think people go into sex wanting both people to have a good time. Right?
Of course, yeah,
so
definitely. Yeah.
If I could tell you what I really like, maybe it doesn't have to be a conversation before even. It could just like being very vocal about like that feels good. That do that.
Yeah.
Even if you have nothing, and you have no, you feel shy about being like, I need you this way. Then you just like, no.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. But it's like, that's too much. I can't say that to somebody. Then it's like, all you have to say, do that.
Do that. Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
And catch it in the moment. Do that. Keep going. You could just make it 2 words very easy. I think as people, we're very wired to point out the things, be critical.
Yeah.
Especially in like, at least how I was raised, going through the school system, critical theory, everything was very like, you gotta critique. You gotta know how to critique.
Yeah.
You're scanning for negatives. And don't do that in sex. Nobody wants like that feedback during sex. It's just gonna make them feel insecure.
Feel bad, yeah. Like, okay, so I don't know how to please you or anything like that.
Yeah, and I think what we miss with you can criticize, I guess, afterwards.
After, definitely.
You can definitely criticize, but you have to accompany it with what you liked. That's often missing. Yes. So if you're just getting critiques with no likes,
only now it feels like.
Okay. And it's like, what am I doing right? I can't do anything right. Yeah. But if you're like, you did this right, I would say the magic number is 3 positives to 1 negative. Because then that like balances out. You're much more likely to remember the critique than the positive. And actually just the positive reinforcement telling, like, when you did that, amazing. Keep doing that. That goes a long way, I think. Yeah.
So explaining this, do you feel like that means a person should know themselves also, like, this is how I like it, or can they just experiment on the action, like, okay, I like that, oh yes, just do that? Or should it be something that you know for yourself, like, okay, this is what I like, maybe experience or experiment by yourself, or something like that? I mean, like, personal pleasure, like.
So I think it helps, like, personal pleasure. You're just doing it by yourself. It's cool because then you learn how you come
exactly,
how you you learn that. But I think there's also a element of adding somebody in.
Yes,
it's a new experience. It's different. So it helps, but it is also a new experience. So I think experimenting together,
definitely
being in a place together is also like really good and really different and helpful. And you obviously can't apply what you do together really to yourself. You can to an extent, but not. So if you're wondering how to be more attractive to the opposite sex, the real question is, how do I be more present? Because you already embody that energy, either masculine or feminine. So to kind of generate that even during sex is, how can I be more present? That's going to make you feel more connected. That's going to feel like a deeper sense of satisfaction.
Okay, let's go back to the traumas. You went through this situation, and as a person, you have yourself to teach yourself that this is not what I'm supposed to let someone else go through, you know. I'm supposed to be a good person, and I'm supposed to be there for people. Just because my dad was not there for me, but I have to be there for people. How are you letting yourself learn that? How are you being... Instead of you being like, oh, just meet me today and then tomorrow you forgot about me. Maybe I call you and then you don't get back to me because that is what you have experienced. How do you live outside your trauma, basically?
That's the big question, right? Yeah, because you don't want the trauma to define you. It's really difficult when you experience it to have it define who you are, and it becomes integral with like who you are, like the definition of you. It's very easy to let that happen, and I guess how do you avoid it is trying to be aware of it. That's why I found yoga when I was in university, and for me that was such a big practice. And I still practice yoga, and that was, I guess kind of my roots to any kind of spiritual sense is through yoga and through movement. The point of it is to have a deeper meditation.
Yeah.
So there's the whole idea of being mindful. If you've heard of mindfulness, just trying to be in the present.
Living in the now.
Yeah,
that's my favorite quote.
So it's it's a good quote. It's a great one. So if you're continually going back to the past, then you're going to be depressed. Your mind is going back to the past that's happened. The good news is your trauma's happened, and you lived through it. So you have to reshape your thoughts. You have to catch your thoughts like, oh, I'm feeling very bad about myself. I feel really sad. I feel broken. That was a really big one for me for a long time. I feel like if people knew the traumas that I've gone through, why would they want to be with me when they could have someone who didn't? Because I'm like a broken toy. Like, you could get a brand new one that didn't experience that, that doesn't have these triggers that I'm still discovering. Like, I can't, suddenly I'm yelling at you and I don't know why I'm so angry. Maybe you don't want to deal with that. Maybe you want to deal with somebody else. So that's a big one, is that I feel broken. And it's not true. Like, you're actually very strong. You survived the trauma.
You made it this far.
So it's just how your perspective of how you're looking at it. You're looking at it like, oh, I came out injured. I came out crawling through. But actually, you lived through a really bad event. And that not everybody does that. You know?
Yeah.
Suicide is a thing. People kill themselves like over the same things that you've experienced. So because you're living now, because maybe it takes a lot, all of your energy in a day to survive, but you made it through. So the good news is that it's over and that you survived.
Yeah.
And so now the hardest piece really is just shedding the shame and the fear and the obsession. You could get really obsessed. So you got to find things that you love to do, and you have to do them. Things that are going to make you forget. Just take stock. If you paint pictures, if you just doodle, and then that helps you not think about things, then that's okay. Like, that's an outlet for you.
Have you had an experience maybe where you were triggered in public?
I'm aware of some of my triggers, but it takes time to, like, realize that they're triggers.
It was a trigger.
You think you're just being dramatic or something. You like maybe freak out and you're like, and then maybe your ego goes into, I need to defend my ego. So actually, I was right in freaking out because of this or that. But actually, you're just triggered and you didn't know how to express it. And it takes a lot of, I don't know, it takes a lot to just kind of own up to that. To being like, I shouldn't have done that. I was in a state. Yeah, I don't feel good about it, but that's what happens. I think also once you realize triggers, sometimes you could feel shame or guilt around it, so you don't want to fully admit it and own it. Because maybe, like, I guess to use my trigger as an example, I get really upset when people cancel plans on me last minute. That one really makes me feel bad. It makes me feel really, really bad. And it takes time to really realize what's going on. Like, it has to do with
maybe they had an emergency.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And so this is it has taken you time to realize that. Yeah. And this is the thing, is it's a trigger, so it could be any reason. It doesn't matter what the reason is. It's gonna make me feel bad.
Of course.
And that's just my abandonment wound kind of being enacted. And so I could, in my head, understand something came up. It's an emergency. People cancel plans. But I have all this subtext from my childhood telling me it's because you're not good enough. It's because you're not worthy showing up for it. So real time, what I experience it as just like whatever, like I get really upset. I just feel depressed and like I feel like I'm worthless. It makes me feel worthless in that moment. And so this is back to the thing I said about when you experience trauma, it's a groove. And it's always there. So that someone canceling on me, it's always going to make me feel bad. And so I have to know how to support myself to get through it. It's going to come up. You're not erasing that, you could understand, you might think, oh, that's crazy, they had an emergency. You can't be angry at them. And maybe you're not angry with them, but it's bringing up old feelings that have nothing to do with that. So you just have to be aware of that. And you can't have the shame and guilt around it. You just have to call it what it is and know how do you feel loved and show up for yourself so that you feel I could get through this wave. Because emotions come through. Emotions, you don't really have control of your emotions. They come and you deal with it. You have to know how to direct the emotions. They're trying to take you somewhere, but we've all developed this part of our brain, the front part that's like humans, very like complex thinking. We can make decisions, so it's up to your brain to kind of override your emotions and say like control it. Handle it this way. Feel how you need to, take the space, do what you need to do to tolerate the discomfort, but ultimately you need your brain to make the executive decisions.
That was really nicely explained. Actually makes me think a lot about our lives in general, like you really feel like sometimes when you're speaking to a friend, like for example what you just said, like canceling on a friend, and then a friend is like really mad and you're just like, but I just had an emergency, but I don't know that you were triggered, something like that. That's really, really deep, hey? It's very deep, because it goes to our relationships. Our relationships sometimes don't be as stable as we want them to, because you don't understand your friend or your partner, kind of thing.
Once you kind of start to open your eyes to this kind of thing, you start to see, oh, this person's acting crazy. What you would maybe label crazy, you could kind of reframe it as, oh, something happened that has nothing to do with me. This is not about me. I'm not going to take this personally. They're triggered about something that happened in their life that I had no part of. And I'm sorry I triggered it, but I'm not responsible for your happiness.
Okay, I'm very sorry to disappoint, but this will have to be the end of our session. And of course, I won't leave you with nothing. Jenny will obviously, please leave us with something. If you have any words, maybe advices or anything that you'd like to give our viewers, maybe about, of course, about today's topic on self-love and your relationship with yourself.
I guess the best piece of advice is just ask yourself continuously throughout the day, how am I showing up for myself? How am I showing my self-care? Because it comes in all kinds of forms, so just be honest. The other piece I guess is sometimes I like to flip relationships. So if I'm showing up for someone or I'm not sure what I should be doing, sometimes I imagine my best friend. What if she came and told me the same thing? What advice would I give her? Because oftentimes it's a lot more gentle than just get over it. You would never say that to your best friend. You would listen. So that's an exercise you could do, is just imagine your best friend saying that to you. What would you tell your best friend? Or your lover, your child, or kids also. Sometimes I imagine myself as a child, or like it's easy, especially because I'm a teacher. So imagine like a 6-year-old coming up to me and saying something. What would I do? Would I be dismissive? Probably not.
That I feel like that was I just learned something, actually. Honestly, I love that. I love it how you just explained it, like putting yourself in a situation that this person is telling me what I'm going through. That is beautiful. I feel like everyone should take that. Please take it. Thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you so much for today. I mean, I learned a lot, and I really hope that everyone else got a lot from this session. Your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship that you could ever have. You always have yourself. That's what you said, girl. You have yourself for the rest of your life. So keep it on the right level. Take care of yourself. Be there for yourself. And then you can go out there and have every other beautiful relationship with anyone else. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, this is All Things Relationships Abroad. Thank you so much, girl. I love that. That was really cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching All Things Relationships Abroad with Nikita Kamane. Please do subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment because we love to know your own views and keeping you engaged. If you believe you have a story that you'd love to share, please do send us a WhatsApp text or an email because anyone can tell your story, but no one can tell it like we can. Until next time, All Things Relationships Abroad.